All right. NBA Now, August 5th. I believe it's episode 4. I don't know how long I'll keep the count, but we'll go right into this. How many of y'all saw the Suns versus the Clippers? Now, the Suns were like the Nets, Orlando's in the 8th seed, but Orlando feels like one of these teams now, probably with Isaac going down, right? But there were a handful of teams invited to the bubble where people were like, what's the point, right? There should be less players and less things to have to deal with. Let's shrink this down. And 22 teams was an odd number, right? And the Suns were one of those teams where people were questioning, why in the hell are they there? They're not going to make the playoffs, but quietly, they haven't lost a game. Like many other rosters, they've gotten healthy. Some of their guys have gotten in better shape. And oh yeah, Devin Booker is the closest thing we've seen to Kobe Bryant. Now, I know you're going to say, calm down, Alk. That's blasphemous. Look, he's got a long ways to go, right? He hasn't done any winning, you know what I'm saying? But aesthetically speaking, his game is the closest thing I think we've seen to Kobe. I'm not talking about accolades. I'm talking about one mentality as a scorer. And again, aesthetically, how he gets to his jumper, his footwork, his fadeaway. Now, he's not as athletic as a young Kobe. He's not as dynamic going to the rim. Kobe was pretty damn athletic, right? He had the dunk comp and he was very dexterous. Book isn't that type of athlete, but I'd also probably say he's more of a willing passer and playmaker than Kobe was at this point in his career. And so wet like he's Book drops it in PG's face last night, or I should say yesterday afternoon in the bubble, and the Suns remain undefeated and somehow have a shot at getting into this playoff game, or this play-in game, I should say. Meanwhile, Memphis releases the news that Jaren Jackson Jr. tore his meniscus. So you got to feel bad for Memphis and Ja, who's been struggling. I think overall it's still a successful season for the Grizz, right? You talk about a rookie coach, Taylor Jenkins. The whole team is like 20 years old. I mean, Dylan Brooks does think he's Devin Booker, but that's besides the point, right? Josh Jackson stopped dribbling the ball, my G. Anyway, I went on a Memphis tangent here, but I wanted to talk about the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker. And again, you can say, I know he has a long ways to go to be even brought up in the same breath as Kobe. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is his game. People love the style of Kobe and how he scored. Booker's the closest thing. He really is. And you see him have a sense of the moment. This year, he's actually started to just round out and complete his game. He's playing more defense. He's becoming more of a playmaker out of necessity. And you look around this Pacific Division moving forward, and it looks like it might be the strongest and toughest division to play in, Warrior fans. It's gonna be a struggle. You obviously have the two LA teams that look to be good for several years to come. Sacramento, they're no pushover. I know someone asked me to cover the Kings. I got to watch some more and figure out what's going on with them. I don't have a full take on them yet, but I know they're not a pushover, right? If Bagley can ever get on the floor, I like Harry Giles. You know what I don't like about Sacramento is Luke Walton, if you want to be honest. But I still have hope for Fox, Bagley, Hield. Looks like it might have been a mistake in hindsight, but I don't think that's a immovable contract if you want to maybe flip Hield into something different, right? But now that the Suns, I think we all have to apologize about the Cam Johnson pick. He looks like a nice big stretch forward, right? Mikal Bridges is coming into his own and fulfilling his destiny as a 3-and-D wing. Devin Booker, I hold him as a tier 1 young star. Right? He's not a tier 1 superstar yet, but out of these young guys, out of the Tatums, and I'll put him with the Tatums and the Doncic's and the Trae Youngs, right? He's there. I'm not saying he's ahead of them, but he's in that category. He's in that tier, right? And so all of a sudden, Phoenix, Ayton is coming along, right? He looks, what I like about him defensively is he makes reads. He's not out there just jumping and being big. He kind of takes his time, and he's starting to understand how big he is, at least on the defensive end. He is, kind of allergic to rebounding. I'm a little suspicious about his rebounding. He's not physical as you'd like him to be, right? But you see the skill set, and he's coming along nicely. I think where the Suns move forward is, I don't know about y'all Sun fans, but I'm nervous when Rubio has the ball late. I know he makes a lot of hustle plays. I understand the intangibles that Ricky Rubio brings to this young Suns team, but down the stretch there, it was like he just takes some bad shots for the veteran that he is. And, it's like he just holds onto the ball a little bit too much. And ideally, he's not on the floor at the end of games. I like that's how I feel. And so with the emergence of Mikal Bridges to go along with Cam Johnson, right? You see Kelly Oubre over there on the sidelines out with the meniscus surgery. And you've heard rumblings that they were shopping him. Warrior fans are very interested in Oubre and perhaps a trade back in this year's draft. And it makes you wonder if they're more incentivized to trade Oubre considering how Bridges is looking in this bubble and Cam Johnson, right? And if they could maybe get a point guard, if they could upgrade the point guard position between Rubio and Javon Carter. I like him as maybe your fourth guard. I don't mind him on the end of your bench, but you can't be giving him heavy minutes. He shot some suspect threes yesterday. But if they could use Oubre, they're going to have a decent draft pick, right, to upgrade the guard position. All of a sudden, you look at the Pacific Division, and there's no real weak spots, And so moving forward, that's going to be tough. But Book, one of my favorite young players, he's just got it, right? And I've talked about this before, the step he took this year where he's balancing out his talent and his energy on both ends of the floor more so. Now, if you just get some more talent around him and these guys keep developing, he's going to be one of those guys. So it's been a long time coming for the Suns. I'm happy for Suns fans. I'm just a little nervous for us Warrior fans at how strong this Pacific Division is starting to look.